good afternoon. Welcome into Real Big Talk. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. It's Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. Had a nice, relaxing weekend. I don't know if you noticed, Lola, but now I just look like the world's oldest baby. I know. Go ahead. Laugh it up.
I didn't.
Well, you didn't really see me. In all fairness, I haven't really seen you today. I was kind of hiding in my office, and you weren't here. But, yeah, I look like the world's oldest baby.
You look, how can I put this so that it sounds diplomatic? You look a lot younger.
I've heard that. You don't have to, you don't have to be diplomatic with me. You can say anything to me.
Well, your beard had a lot of gray in it.
Well, yeah, I'm old. I mean, it's, but yeah, I shaved it all down Saturday morning. And I have no real reason why. I went to trim it up a little bit because it does get a little unruly, and then I accidentally hit the wrong number on my shaver. And if you've never seen me, and that's okay, if you've never seen me, I'm a big guy, and I had a big beard, a lot of which was gray, and I was dialing my shaver in to just trim it up and keep it at least somewhat kempt. And I hit the wrong number, so when I went to do that, I noticed that a lot of it came off. So I either ran the risk of just looking like crazy striped beard or just shave it all off. So yeah, and I called my mom. I talk to my mom every day, and she asked me what was going on, and I told her she had the world's oldest baby. So I have my baby face kicking, and it feels weird. And of course, I picked the day that it was going to go down to like 7 degrees. So when I went outside with my dog, man, my face was cold.
I bet. It's
cold. I haven't seen some of this skin in a long time. So other than that, I had, I mean, just the sleight of a hand, but it'll grow back. Other than that, I had a pretty good weekend. I stayed quiet, watched a lot of TV, and I watched something yesterday that I was going to tell everybody about. It's not new. It came out in 2017, so it's not new. But if you even remotely enjoy stories about the music business or how your favorite artists come to be your favorite artists, I watched a great documentary yesterday on Clive Davis. It's on Netflix. If you've heard the name Clive Davis or you never heard the name Clive Davis, just know someone that you love as an artist has to thank Clive Davis that you know who they are. Clive Davis's very first signee was Janis Joplin. So for those that love the older stuff, Janis Joplin was his first signee. He is still creating today. Like he's still, it's unbelievable. The documentary is very good. It's called Clive Davis Soundtrack of Our Lives, and that's true. Clive Davis Barry Manilow. I was laughing because you never really think about how many genres. Like if someone's good at one thing, it's usually in a genre. Clive Davis is good at everything. Clive Davis is responsible for some of rock and roll's newest or biggest new artists at the time. Rock and roll was something that at the time, Columbia Records, which was huge, didn't want to embrace. And he was the one that said, I think this is kind of going somewhere. This could be the next revolution of music. And it was absolutely fantastic. And it went all the way up to 2017, which was when the film was made. And it was fantastic. It was fantastic. If you're looking for something to watch, if you like music at all, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. And the guy is 88. He's still doing it at a high level, at like the highest level. Unbelievable. But I will say this, in all the enjoyment I got out of watching this, he was the one who broke Whitney Houston. And the story of Whitney Houston is very sad, obviously. I mean, Whitney Houston died from a drug overdose right before his legendary Grammy party. But they showed clips of Whitney Houston singing the national anthem at the Super Bowl. And I think everybody remembers that, right?
When we close the show's outlet.
I mean, yeah, it's the Super Bowl national anthem performance. Other people have done it pretty well. Nobody did it as well as Whitney Houston. And so yesterday, watching that documentary and seeing the footage of Whitney Houston doing the national anthem at the Super Bowl, and it wasn't about who was in the Super Bowl, like when they panned the crowd, because they showed quite a bit of the performance. It was everyone being pro-America. Everyone had a flag or a Go USA sign or whatever. You know, I mean, it was extremely touching to see how many people actually were embracing the idea of America and kind of moving that moment into now. You move that, because I think that was 30 years ago. I think it was like 1991. I mean, it was a long time ago that Whitney Houston, yeah. I think it was 91. So you think about how disjointed we've become since then. And it's really weird. And today, and I am making a point with all of this, maybe a little long-winded, but I am making a point of all this. Today is actually the anniversary of one of the most patriotic events in history. Lola, do you have it back there?
Oh, yeah. You want it right now?
Yeah, let's play it right now.
Back to Parlamar, skating in on the left side. Into the American end, 55 seconds, but Mikhailov has the puck. Mikhailov sweeping in, out in front, backhander goes wide. I think Craig might have got just a piece of it. Mikhailov, back out to Ilya Letinov. 43 seconds remaining. Morrow, checked into the boards, it comes back to center ice. 37 seconds left in the game. Petrov with it, the Americans on top, 4-3. Long shot, Craig able to get a piece of it to sweep it away. 28 seconds. The crowd going insane. Parlamar shooting it into the American end again. Morrow is back there. Now Johnson, 19 seconds. Johnson over to Ramsey. Ilya Letinov gets checked by Ramsey. McClanahan is there. The puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
The hair on my arm is standing up. The hair on my arms is standing up listening to Al Michaels call what is probably the greatest moment in American sports history 41 years ago today, the Miracle on Ice. Of course, the United States goes on to win the gold medal. That was not the gold medal game, which sometimes throws people off. That was the opportunity to go to the gold medal game. Again, in the gold medal game, they trailed Finland, I think 2-1 or at one point, and came back to win that one too. But did you hear the crowd in that clip? I miss that. I miss that. And not because I miss the roar of a crowd at a game, because we will get that again. But I felt like, and now at the time, I was only 2. I was only 2 when the Miracle on Ice occurred. So to say I remember it would be a lie. To say I understand everything that came after it and how hockey evolved in America and, of course, in the region when Mario Lemieux was drafted, I was the beneficiary of all of the post-Miracle on Ice hockey resurgence, or insert, however you want to say it. But we just don't have that passion for America anymore collectively. We just don't see it. And that was 41 years ago. And then, like I said, I think the Whitney Houston thing was, I think it'll be coming up on 30 years for the next Super Bowl.
Yes. 91.
Yeah. We went in the wrong direction as far as caring about America. I think people misconstrue anger with caring. And in 41 years and 30 years, respectively, I don't know the last time I felt like everyone in the crowd was for that. And I'm not knocking This isn't a knocking Colin Kaepernick thing or anything like that. Understanding the difference between problems that exist and patriotism, those lines are blurred. If ever, they're blurred more now than they ever have been. It just struck me so much when I saw that Whitney Houston video that the crowd was, the Super Bowl was there, but the crowd was there for America. I mean, it was unbelievable. You think about the time post 9/11, when football returned post 9/11. If Lowell, if you pulled up any clip, and I'm not asking you to do it, I'm just saying, if you pulled up any clip, the hair would raise again on your arm. Thinking about the teams running on the field with the American flag and stuff like that. Now it's like the most opposite feeling ever. I'm interested to see when stadiums can fill again. And that day will come. Stadiums and arenas will fill again. I'm interested to see the reaction to the national anthem when everybody's in their seat. I would love to. I feel like hockey will never have that issue, and maybe I'm a hockey elitist, and that's fine. But I've never seen anybody mad at. I watch most Americans sing the Canadian national anthem at a hockey game. I mean, seriously, yeah, I do. I totally do. And honestly, they have a much more. I don't want to say better. Don't anybody call and get all sideways, although you are welcome to call 304-214-1600. I'm not saying Canada's better than America. I'm just saying, Oh, Canada's a beautiful song.
It's more singable.
It is very much more singable.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if singable's a word, that is the correct one. It is much more singable. It's easier to get into. But yeah, I mean, I don't think hockey will ever have that issue. Could you imagine if they tried to play the Canadian national anthem at the NFL games? You want to talk about, I ain't never watching NFL again? Oh, my God.
Those people they never really need an excuse.
No,
and yet they'll tune in next week.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't think hockey will ever have people that are just outright against, America or Canada. Hockey fans are just glad to be there. They're just glad to be there.
My 4-year-old nephew sings the Canadian national anthem.
It's great to watch. It's great because you actually feel like you're in a place that's unified. Like, hey, we're all here for hockey, and and really, if you've never been to a hockey game, what happens is they play the Canadian national anthem at hockey games where Canadian teams are participating. So if you went to see the Penguins versus the Capitals, it would not play. But if you went to see the Penguins versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, it would. And so if you've never seen that, it's actually really kind of special.
Yeah.
It's really kind of special because, most of the players out there are from America or Canada. And then, of course, there's a smattering of players from different countries, which you're not going to play every single one. But hockey was born in Canada, and the fact that they do that is nice. And when you watch that at a game, and you watch America sing that anthem. It was there's a couple years ago that the sound system went out in a Canadian arena. I want to say it was Calgary, but I'm not sure. And so they were playing an American team. The sound system went out, and the fans actually sang our national anthem. Like, that wouldn't happen in America.
No, I know.
It wouldn't happen. So I don't know. I was just kind of, it made me glad to see those memories, and then again, it made me kind of bummed to think about we're not there anymore. We're not there anymore. Hopefully, and I will text the guy because I met him briefly when this was something that was going to happen. If you are a big hockey fan, especially the Miracle on Ice, there was a great event planned at Franciscan University in Steubenville that was supposed to happen a couple of months ago, and it was going to have Mike Eruzione, Craig Patrick, and a couple other people involved with the Miracle on Ice. The event was selling great, and then of course they went into the red, and they weren't allowed to do the event at that time. The guy's name is Mike Florak. I'm going to give him a shout and find out when that event can be rescheduled, because we will get to the point where that event can happen. And I tell you what, I'll be the first one in line. just to hear those stories about the Miracle on Ice. That was at Franciscan University, if you're interested in that. Check that out. You could probably email Mike, too, right off of the website, but I will get that information, and we'll share, because obviously when it happens, I want to attend that. Kind of pivoting into something different as we get ready to take our first break here in a few minutes. 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Anybody has any memories or wants to share anything about either that Super Bowl performance or the Miracle on Ice, you're welcome to call. It affected the country in so many wonderful ways. And it's hard to believe that you think about 41 years ago. We still haven't straightened things out. We still it feels like it never rested. It feels like this country's never been able to take a break from somebody being mad about something at us. I wish it would, but it probably won't. Coming up this afternoon, 3 o'clock, Governor Justice is discussing his plans or ideas or thoughts on getting rid of the income tax. We've talked quite a bit about it. We talked to our buddy Stephen Allen Adams. We'll talk to him probably tomorrow to get the full breakdown of how all of this is going to go down. But Governor Justice not backing off on the state income tax thing. I think Steve said maybe there were 7 or 8 other states that have done it. Obviously, Florida succeeds with it quite well because people live there in the winter. It works for Florida because people are spending their money there 6 months out of the year and then living in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, the other 6 months. So for Florida, it works. The idea of what it all entails, that will still continue to roll out in details, and the governor will address that today at 3. I still think it can be done. I just think that the state isn't marketing itself in a fashion that allows people to want to move here enough for no income tax to be the only reason. If you don't want to pay income tax, which nobody does, I mean, nobody's like, can't wait to do that. That's my duty as an American. I'm going to give some of my hard-earned money back to the country. No one wants to do that. But I do think that it has merit in the right places. Is West Virginia one of those places? Well, right now it's not. Right now it's not. It's an interesting concept. I'm not against the idea of it. Right now I'm not convinced it's a thing that can work is really the problem. And I think what really it's going to take is, if you want to do this, you have to have a really solid plan in place to get people to move to this state. And one of the things about people moving to the state, because I lived in Morgantown, and you want to talk about the place in this state where people move to, it's Morgantown, because they come to college. And then they stay for some cases a semester, some cases 4 or 5 years, some cases people become doctors there, and they're there for 7 or 8 years, maybe 9. People that live in Morgantown, that are from Morgantown, hate it. They hate it. It disrupts their town. It disrupts it in ways. Now, it benefits in a lot of ways. If you own a business in Morgantown and it's geared towards selling things that college kids can use, the economy can boom because of that. But if you're going to try to drop the income tax, you're going to get people to move to Wheeling or Parkersburg or Charleston or in and around the areas that those areas have to improve a lot of things, a lot of infrastructure. A lot of infrastructure. And that doesn't mean just fixing 70 after the tunnel. I mean, that means there's going to have to be a lot of things in place. I think they're trying to put the cart before the horse. I think you have to show people, hey, here's another reason to come here. Look at this opportunity to not pay income taxes all year round. And we have all of these things. We have a lot of natural beauty. We have a lot of natural beauty. And if you want to live at a ski resort, if you want to go live in Canaan Valley and just be away from everything, that's fine. But you can do that now. It's really not that expensive to do that now. You eliminate these personal property taxes, and you want to start bringing people to move in here because they can work remotely, I think you're going to have to put on a better show than we put on now.
Well, and you have to keep our state moving in a modern direction, as opposed to House Bill 2157, which was introduced, and it would outlaw teaching any type of sexuality in our public schools. Now, what young couple, what corporation is going to want to move to a state with an archaic law like that? It's just ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. They keep moving us, instead of forward, backward. Like there's another bill in the Senate that if you are poor and you sue somebody under the Consumer Protection Act, so it's usually not a big amount of money. You're
Sure.
talking maybe a few $1,000s or something. But you were able to, if you won, you were able to recoup your legal fees. And now under Senate Bill 5, they want to do away with that because they said that it would benefit the corporations that were dealing with frivolous lawsuits. Now, a judge is there to determine if a lawsuit is indeed frivolous
Sure.
or not, or it should move forward. But this way, they want to just cut poor people out of it because if you're getting ripped off or something happened and you're having to go after somebody under that Consumer Protection Act, you don't have the money for a lawyer. So again, moving us backward instead of forward. I am just completely baffled by all these things that are coming up in the legislature this year,
I mean, think about it. Who picks up and moves for tax purposes? The rich. I mean, because a lot of poor people can't do that. In fact, some of the poor people that can move generally move out of West Virginia. If they can figure out the means, they go. And I agree. I think the law, I think that's silly. I think it's ridiculous, and I think it's hurtful to the average citizen. I think it's hurtful to the average citizen, but I also think, in a way, it might be dangling a little bait. Like, that's maybe who they want to move here. And that wouldn't shock me. I mean, a corporation moving here or giving people incentive to move here, the state was overwhelmingly red in elections. They're not making this so people that are liberal will move here.
But any corporation that needs their people to move with them, one of the first things, two things they look at: housing, workforce, and schools.
Sure.
So now you're going to introduce this House bill that is going to move us back 60 years in thinking. What corporation is going to want to move particularly their white-collar workers, to a place where their kids aren't going to get a balanced education because you can't teach sexuality in school?
I wonder how the counterbalance of that is this whole bill about being able to use some of your taxes for private schooling that we talked about last week. Because I mean, it all sounds like it has a pattern. Mm-hmm. It all sounds like it has a pattern. I mean, again, I'll say this about anything, anytime, anywhere. I don't care if it's a professional baseball team, a state, or a corporation. Follow the money. Follow the money. Who are you trying to get to move here? People with money. People with money. Because people with money can buy a giant parcel of land and live on it. Not your average. I can't do that. I wish I could do that, but I can't do that. What do we have to sell more than anything else? Space. We have space. We have space everywhere. And so I think that's part of the idea. It's who do they want to move here? Who are you dropping income tax for? Probably a group of people that I know. Whether you're aiming it particularly towards anybody, let's just give the state the benefit of the doubt. Just say they weren't doing some of these things, and it was the idea of getting anybody to move here. Again, if you don't have a better infrastructure, they're not going to come here. There are 8 other states that don't have income tax, and you wonder why everybody jams into Florida. Let me tell you something. Florida is absolutely miserable during the season. where everybody comes there in the wintertime, it's miserable. You can't drive anywhere because the people that are older that come there for the winter, they don't see very well. They don't know the traffic. They don't know the traffic patterns. There is a wreck every 6 seconds in Florida in the wintertime. So before you're inviting that to the state of West Virginia, which, by the way, it snows in the winter, see current outside conditions, you're going to see that this is a bad plan if you don't have a better structure. And I'm not knocking the people that remove snow. I want to make sure that they killed it. They actually slayed it. I know we're over break here, but 304-214-1600. Those are some of the topics we're going to get to today. Also, I hate to go back to it, but there's more in the Ted Cruz saga that we have to discuss. That's coming up here in just a few minutes on the Watchdog.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together, we will get through this.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing!
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time. Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
When winter weather strikes the Ohio Valley, you can trust the Storm Tracker 7 weather team to help you plan your day. Our experienced meteorologists stay connected with you on TV, online, and on social. Get your weather information straight from a local source. We'll help you be prepared and make sure you'll never be surprised.
And we do expect dry conditions overnight, tonight, and all day tomorrow.
Meteorologist Dr. Dave Walker, Aaron Mylar, and me, Zach Petty, the Storm Tracker 7 weather team. Working for
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project with 11% off everything. Give your home a new look with Tarkett laminate flooring. Tarkett combines design and performance to provide you the looks you love. Durable and water-resistant Aquafloor Plus laminate is $199 a square foot after 11% off. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through February 27th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. The state Senate is sending the no-strike bill to the House of Delegates for consideration. It would put the 1990 Supreme Court decision prohibiting teacher strikes into state code. It also would hold pay for striking teachers until the school days they miss are made up if a superintendent decides to close school. Marion County Senator Mike Caputo says Republican lawmakers trying to get back at teachers for striking in 2018 and 2019.
This bill does nothing to move West Virginia forward. It does nothing to further that profession. It's mean-spirited. And I think it's in retaliation for people standing up for what they believe in.
Not so, says Senate Education Committee Chair Patricia Rucker.
This bill has nothing to do with why the teachers went on strike or why there was work stoppage. All this does is clarifies that it is illegal in the state of West Virginia.
You can read more at WVMetroNews.com. Governor Jim Justice has a virtual town hall meeting scheduled for next hour, where he'll be talking about his plan to reduce the state income tax. There remain about 24,000 Appalachian Power customers without service from the ice storms. Company spokesman Phil Moy.
Probably half of the outages that we have are in Wayne County.
The company hopes to get customers in Jackson, Putnam, and Lincoln counties back on by late tonight, and they're putting Cabell County customers and Wayne County customers hopefully back on by tomorrow night. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. The active COVID-19 cases in West Virginia continue to drop dramatically. During the past 30 days, active cases have decreased by an average of 485 cases a day. Active cases are now below 9,000. The latest numbers at our website. A preliminary hearing will be scheduled for a man charged with murder in Burke County. 27-year-old Jeffrey White charged in the death of another man in Wellsburg over the weekend. White was taken into custody on Saturday. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
It's not red. It's not blue. It's just real. Real Big Talk with Big Rick continues now on The Watchdog.
I remember when rock was young. Me and Susie had so much fun, holding hands and skimming stones. Had a no-go Chevy and a place of my own, but the biggest kick I ever got was doing a thing called the crocodile rock, while the other kids are rocking round the clock. We were hopping and bopping to the crocodile rock. Well,
Welcome back. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. And this just in. Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin has COVID-19. Just diagnosed with COVID-19. A couple of days ago, he had to leave the facility, and I think several other people also had to go, and they shut it down. Well, it turns out that Mike Tomlin does have COVID. Obviously, if anything happens to Coach, we'll tell you about it, but he has been diagnosed with COVID. Also, I just heard in Metro News there, great to see the numbers in West Virginia continue to fall rapidly. I think they said 485 less than what had been the norm, so that's wonderful. Just over 9,000 cases statewide. Keep getting those vaccinations. Keep cranking them out. Let's talk about Texas for a minute. We talked a lot about it last week, and it's just a story that won't go away. I mean, honestly, we probably laughed a little too hard about it last week. But you know what? Play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and it was funny. Ted Cruz got on a plane, and the number of people that continue to defend him is still astonishing. His constituents continue to do so, but not everybody. Not everybody. In fact, there is a Texas Republican who is absolutely slamming Ted Cruz. His name is Michael McCall. And he just laid in to Cruz. When a crisis hits my state, I'm there. I'm not going to go on some vacation. I mean, that's just blatant. I know Mr. Cruz called it a mistake, and he's owned up to that, but I think that was a big mistake, and as for me, I was the one on the ground trying to help my people out and my constituents, and that's what we should have all been doing in a time of crisis. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Politically, he did something stupid. And it's not even close to the most wrong thing he's ever done. But this is the thing that other people are finally slamming him about. Ted Cruz. And over the weekend, I mean, obviously he did. He came right back from Cancun. But over the weekend, he took time to take pictures with people who were lining up so he could put a case of water in their car. I hate that so much.
Their little photo ops.
It's like, yeah. I mean,
I'm surprised he didn't throw out paper towels.
the old Puerto Rican layup. Yeah, I remember that one. But yeah, I mean, it was a straight up photo op. And then there was one of him cutting up brisket and handing out food. Honestly, I think I probably, if I were him, would have just stayed in Cancun. Because coming back wasn't going to fix it either.
No.
I mean, once you got on the plane, once you went to the airport, once you called Houston police to escort you to the airport, you were hosed. Like, you were definitely going to get found out. I think I would have just stayed. I would have just stayed and been like, you know what? I don't have any power. My little dog Snowflake is being taken care of. I'm not going back. And then you have the opposite side of this, and it's worth mentioning because whether it's a photo op or not, and I think it is, don't get me wrong, I 100% think it is. I'm certainly not a supporter of AOC. She's raised $5 million.
I know.
$5 million in relief efforts for Texas. And there is, it's 4.7, at least the last total, according to CNN.com. But still, that is what kids today call trolling. That's trolling. She's trolling Ted Cruz, but she's doing a way better job at it than I've ever seen. I mean, do I think at the end of the day that it's not done out of the right? Do I think it's the right thing to do? Yeah, I mean, it is. If you can raise $5 million to help people who really need it right now, raise it. I don't care if I like you or not, raise it. Mm-hmm. Do it. And she did that. There's no doubt that there is a personal touch to that, though.
Well, good for her. The end justifies the means.
Now that
I just don't have a problem with her. I don't care what her reasons are. It's going to a good cause.
It is. It is. I mean, like I said, if you can do it, do it. She has lots of followers on social media. The people that like her really seem to like her a lot. And those people are willing to give money to help. It's just when you roll into Texas with $4.5 million while someone last week you accused of trying to get you killed, which I wasn't there. I don't know. I wouldn't say that she's wrong. I wouldn't say that he helped that situation at all.
But this is not about him.
But I think to her it's partially about him.
But in the overall picture of it, it's not about him. And it's just like all these Republican senators that have been screaming against the COVID relief bill because part of that bill will go to help state and local budget problems. And so they've all been standing up for a month now saying, why should we bail out blue states because they can't run their state efficiently? Well, where are you today there, dude, when, the federal government is bailing out one of the reddest states in the country? And yet there was no ifs, ands, or buts about sending national, aid or federal aid for the cleanup and for the repairs and for the humanitarian problems. I dare these, not even dare, because that's a dumb dare. That's like sticking my tongue on a flagpole. These guys will still be saying that about, bailing out blue states, even though we're all going to bail out Texas. We're all going to help these poor people that are sitting there with $3,000 electric bills,
Oh, I wish it was only $3,000 for some of them.
Well, I know, but that's the number that came out initially, was last month's bill was $3,000. Lord knows what this month's bill is going to be.
Yeah, the problems continue to stack up in Texas, not just with this, not just the Ted Cruz part. In fact, it's the laughable part of what's happened in Texas.
Yeah,
Because really,
you need some, comic relief.
yeah, I mean, it is. He didn't. It's not illegal to go to Cancun. It was stupid on his part, but it's not illegal to go to Cancun. He didn't do something harmful to another person. He just showed how selfish he was in the middle of a crisis. But there are a lot of real things happening right now in Texas that just seem unbelievable, especially to us who live here, and we're so used to cold, and we know what to do when it happens. And that's the part I think that people don't think. I've seen a lot of cruel things said about Texas, and yeah, Texas does have a reputation of, the people sticking their chests out and going, "This is Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. Everything's better in Texas." At the end of the day, there's a lot of people in Texas that would have no idea how to do some of the things that we know how to do here because they're not used to this. It's never happened really in their lifetime for a lot of people.
I remember Dallas during the Super Bowl got hit by an ice storm. I mean, didn't stay bitter cold for as long as it did, but because all our guys were down there for that.
Yeah, I mean it happens, but not too often.
Yeah.
Right now, Texas has 10 confirmed deaths from hypothermia. I mean, that does not happen in Texas. I mean, honestly, it doesn't really happen here all that much, and it's cold here quite a bit. But 10 confirmed deaths from hypothermia in Texas thus far. Lola mentioned power bills and mentioned the number 3,000. I've seen people reporting power bills as high as $17,000 for a month. If you could get power, you got gouged for it. You want to talk about somebody who needs to look into something. I mean, Lola, you live in a big old house, and yours has never been $3,000 a month, let alone $17,000.
You think I'd be living here if it had been?
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it was an opportunity for gouging to gouge, and gougers gouged.
Well, but it's the Texans. Truthfully, it's Texas's own fault.
Well, sure it is.
They didn't want regulation. So this is what you got. You do have a choice there. Not that I'm defending the choice, but you go variable rate or fixed rate. And people that chose to roll the dice on the variable rate, which may be a little bit lower, because it would be in the spring and the fall, they're the ones that are really, really getting hit. That fixed rate, it's kind of like with us, you're paying X amount of dollars per unit used. And, your bill's going to go up, but they can't charge you more per unit than what your fixed rate is. But I would have been one of the ones to have rolled the dice on the variable.
Yeah, see, I'm not much into that. Like, I want to know what I owe somebody every month. Like, I want to have an idea of what it is. How do I account for it before I have to pay it and move on? So I probably would not have done that. But you're right; those are the people that are getting hosed. Mm-hmm. And if for those that don't know, maybe weren't a part of this or haven't really looked into it all that much, Texas decided a long time ago that it was going to have its own power grid. So there are 3 power grids. The West has a power grid, the East has a power grid, and Texas has a power grid, essentially is the way to look at it. And obviously Texas had a big problem with theirs. Sometimes you get what's coming to you. And I don't feel good about anything that's happened to anybody in Texas. But if you choose to live in Texas, and I know it's not, people always say, you don't like something, move. You don't like Tom Wolf, move. You don't like Jim Justice, move. It's not that easy. People can't just pick up and move. They have families, they have homes, they have businesses.
They have no money.
They have no means. They have no means. People that, you don't like America, move. And you hear it a lot from celebrities, regardless of like who's going to be the president. If Joe Biden wins, I'm moving. If Donald Trump wins, I'm moving. Here's the funny thing. None of those people left. Not one of them. Not one of those celebrities left. But yeah, you hear that a lot. That's the argument. Well, if you don't like it, move. Well, Texas, first of all, Texas is an enormous place. So you could have, you could move 8 hours away and still live in Texas. You can't move 8 hours away from West Virginia and still possibly live in it. If you moved 8 hours from Wheeling, you don't live in West Virginia anymore. And so, you have to consider the fact that some people can't leave. They can't do those things. And now a lot of those people will, not have anything. Like a lot of people said that about Hurricane Katrina. People, I think they call it victim shaming. Yeah. People were victims of like the worst hurricane, and they were like, well, should have been living there. Just move. Yeah. That's not how this goes. That's not how it goes. There's no assistance program for people going, don't like where you live now? Well, apply for this assistance and get out. Yeah, you can apply for different jobs in different cities and whatever. It doesn't mean you can afford to get there. Not every employer will move you. But yeah, that's what a lot of Texans are dealing with right now. One Texas family, and it's been a pretty publicized story, they had a child who died. They have already sued the power companies for $100 million. That's the first lawsuit against power companies in Texas. $100 million. I don't know how that'll go. I'm not a legal expert, but I can't imagine that it will go anywhere. I mean, do we see power goes out here? Are people suing Appalachian Power? No, I don't see it working. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Anytime a kid dies, that's an absolute travesty. But I don't think this can go anywhere, right?
If they can prove negligence, and there is, some talk of that they knew they had to winterize all these things and they didn't do it. If the infrastructure inside that grid was truthfully falling apart, that they had conductors or whatever those things are, that look like little coronavirus things.
Yeah.
And they can get hold of emails or memos or something showing that those things needed to be updated, were supposed to have been, and never were taken care of. That all goes to neglect, some kind of neglect. So if they can prove all of that, and they may settle, because the power company is going to be taking a hit for everything anyway. It's kind of like the power out in California with the wildfires, and you may just choose to settle it, slap a confidentiality thing on there and non-disclosure, and just get out from under it.
I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that. You're right. Boy, if they can show that there's a trail,
yeah,
that's you always, again, follow the money trail.
They've already said they had been. That was public knowledge. That came out right away. That none of this stuff was winterized, and they knew it should be, because especially with the changing weather patterns all the time, way weather's getting really wacky. And poor people too now. Some of them have never been fully compensated by their insurance companies for Harvey, the flooding from Harvey. And now these same people that still haven't been really fixed from then are now having to deal with their insurance companies again. That is a cult. You know what it's like just for a small little thing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine your house wiped out twice and you're still dealing with insurance?
No, I mean, honestly, this might be the time for someone to, if they have the means, to leave Texas. Not that bad things don't happen in other places, but if that's the way you're getting treated, it makes the rest of us think that Texas might be better off as its own country.
Well, they keep saying they should have been.
Yeah, Texas wants to be its own country. Right now might be the time. I mean, there's enough damage. Might be the time.
And they've got enough natural resources that they could have an economy that could survive by itself.
They do. Like I said, if you can, Texas is so big. You can't even fathom how big Texas is. They could have their own economy, their own everything. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get into some other stuff coronavirus related and your phone calls on the Watchdog.
Here come the jesters, 1, 2, 3. It's all part of my fantasy.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. President Biden's Attorney General nominee Merrick Garland today discussing the January 6th Capitol riots, telling the Senate Judiciary Committee, if confirmed,
my first priority will be to have a briefing on where we are, if I'm confirmed, with the investigations, which from the outside appear quite vigorous and nationwide.
The Judiciary Committee, with a Democratic majority, expected to confirm Garland. Another Biden nominee, Neera Tanden, for Office of Management and Budget, facing opposition from Republicans after she attacked them on social media. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the administration still backs her.
She's rolled up her sleeves and done the work. She's met with more than 35 senators, Democrats and Republicans herself. This is a process. Confirmations, getting individuals confirmed is. She has 2 committee votes this week, and we're working toward that, and we'll continue to work in supporting her nomination.
President Biden announcing changes to the Paycheck Protection Program today.
On Wednesday, the Small Business Administration is going to establish a 14-day exclusive PPP loan application period for businesses and nonprofits with fewer than 20 employees.
Mr. Biden said helping the hardest hit businesses is the key to the economic recovery. The human toll of the pandemic today in stark relief, expected to cross 500,000 dead from COVID-19. President Biden will order flags at half-staff to honor those who died. The Supreme Court turning the page on the Trump era. ABC's Aaron Katursky.
The court rejected Trump's attempt to shield his tax returns from prosecutors here in New York. It rejected appeals over voting rules in battleground states that he used to press his false claim the election was stolen from him.
In a statement this afternoon, former President Trump calling the decision, quote, a continuation of the greatest political witch hunt in the history of our country. Wall Street, the Dow up 134 points. You're listening to ABC News.
It's totally normal to be constipated with belly pain, straining, and bloating again and again.
No way. You could have a chronic condition called irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives to help relieve belly pain and let you have more frequent and complete bowel movements. Individual results may vary. Do not give to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor today. You may be able to save on Linzess and make fewer trips to the pharmacy. See if you're eligible to pay as little as $30 for 90 days. Visit linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by AbbVie and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
Britain's leader today announcing a plan to get out from under harsh coronavirus curbs.
As the third national lockdown grinds on here, finally word on getting back to some sense of a normal life. Addressing Parliament, Prime Minister Boris Johnson outlined his phased lifting of restrictions.
This roadmap should be cautious, but also irreversible. We're setting out on what I hope and believe is a one-way road to freedom.
Gradual lifting of the current measures, starting with the reopening of schools, will be rolled out beginning in March, with the last restrictions finally pulled in June. Tom Rivers, ABC News, London.
A suspicious package call led police in Ohio to an unexpected discovery.
A duffel bag was left on the doorstep of a church in New Miami, Ohio, so the Butler County Sheriff's Office says its bomb squad was called out to investigate. Responding officers heard the sounds of purring, not ticking, and used their X-ray equipment to figure out what was inside. Turned out it was 6 newborn kittens and their mother inside the bag with a note, Mom's name is Sprinkles. She began giving birth at 2 p.m. A post on the sheriff's office Facebook page said the litter is being cared for at a local humane society and that the mother and kittens are doing well and are warm and cozy and fed. Todd Ant, ABC News.
Virginia legislators have given the final approval to a bill ending the state's death penalty. Democratic Governor Ralph Northam expected to sign the measure into law. This is ABC News.
Chrissy is refinancing her home, so she shopped around for the lowest rate and found it at Amerisave.com, setting her up for a lifetime of savings. It's one decision she'll never regret, unlike wearing tap shoes to a surprise party.
Sorry, guys. Just trying to find the perfect hiding place.
Pretty regrettable, Chrissy. Unlike finding that low mortgage rate at Amerisave.com that's got you on your way to a lifetime of savings. Amerisave's rates won't be this low forever, so go to Amerisave.com now. Lower mortgage rates mean higher savings. Call 866-514-SAVE or visit Amerisave.com/licensing for cost information, terms, and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all states except New York. NMLS number 1168.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing.
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project with 11% off. Give your home a new look with Tarkett laminate flooring. Tarkett combines design and performance to provide you the looks you love. Durable and water-resistant Aquafloor Plus laminate is $199 a square foot after 11% off. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through February 27th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast to start your work week. You're going to see mostly cloudy skies with a few raindrops mixing in with some snowflakes through the day. The daytime high in the lower 40s. Your overnight low of 33 degrees with a few light snow showers expected. Otherwise, mostly cloudy conditions. A milder day with temperatures in the low 40s for your Tuesday. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Keeping it real for the right, keeping it real for the left. 100% Real Talk is right here. Real Big Talk continues. Now on the Watchdog, here's Big Rick.
Louisiana way, lived a Cajun lady.
Welcome back. That's Lola. I'm Rick. It's Real Big Talk. Not every day that NPR praises the state of West Virginia, but yet another glowing article popped up on npr.org if you want to check it out. West Virginia's vaccination rate ranks amongst highest in world. The world. West Virginia is doing something better than most of the world. I said that 2/22/2021 at 3:10 p.m. Write it down. West Virginia is doing something better and is being acknowledged for doing something better than most of the world. I would imagine that somewhere down the line, Major General James Hoyer is probably going to get a promotion. Possibly another medal. And you're already a Major General. You've done plenty right.
Yes, I would say so.
Jim Justice looks like the hero. But Major General James Hoyer is the guy that's getting it done. And I mean, it's a good hire. Yeah, so you can't knock that for Jim Justice. It's a good, putting the right people in the right place is a difficult job, and that can't go unnoticed. But what James Hoyer is doing right now is being recognized on a global scale. It's pretty incredible.
Oh, I agree. But see, you take politicians out of it.
Yeah.
You let people that know how to organize, know how to prioritize, and they'll get things done. Keep the politicians out of it.
Yes. Policymakers will never be the most efficient. You let a guy who gives order, and you'll get results.
Yep.
And you're seeing it right now. NPR.org has the story of how West Virginia is a global leader in vaccination. Here's how the story starts out, and it's kind of an immediate shot at West Virginia, which I don't expect anything less. West Virginia isn't known for its good health outcomes, is the first line of this story. They're not wrong.
True.
Yeah, they're not wrong. I mean, you think about how many times we've seen West Virginia ranks last at this or most of that. And they aren't good things. Obesity, diabetes, education, a lot of things that people knock West Virginia for are true. But you know what? The fact that West Virginia is getting the proper notification and notice and just absolute glowing reviews from people that normally wouldn't do that goes to show you how effective it is. I looked it up, and I only found Friday's numbers. As of right now in West Virginia, I think 173,000 people are already fully vaccinated. That's fully vaccinated. That's pretty incredible. And so much of that goes to Major General James Hoyer, the head of this state's COVID-19 Joint Interagency Task Force for Vaccinations. That's a handful. They will not put that on a pin for his uniform. That is a lot of words. But at the end of the day, he is the guy that is absolutely getting done. I know that as that moves swiftly through West Virginia, it is not doing the same in Pennsylvania. I did look, by the way, because Lola, you had mentioned one time on the show, or maybe a couple times, that when you went to get your antibody test, that they said, well, in Ohio, you could be eligible to register for this pretty soon. You can't get an appointment anywhere. I spent a little chunk of the weekend looking for all the places that you could get vaccinated. Anywhere in this state, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. And so I would go ahead and look up the zip codes to other places. And I would type in, if it was a CVS, I'd put a different zip code in. Everything comes up red. Everything's completely booked. Everywhere.
Here, this is just kind of not beside the point, but in Michigan, they have a big registration thing, just like we have here. But drugstores and grocery stores are also doing shots. A month ago now, my sister-in-law went to Walgreens, had to pick up a script. She noticed that they were doing shots, and she said to the girl, "How do we get on the list?" And she goes, "Well, you know what? If we have any extra doses, give me your name and phone number, and I'll call you." Later on that evening, they got a phone call and said, "Be here first thing in the morning," and they got their first shot. And then once you get your first shot, you automatically get registered for your second. So they get their second shot on Friday.
That's great.
I know, but luck of the draw. I mean, she was just there picking up a script. So
it is. It's absolutely luck of the draw. And I got to tell you, that does not happen in Pennsylvania. That does not happen in Pennsylvania.
Are they actually doing any in our area? Washington County?
I live in Washington County, and I can tell you that Giant Eagle has them in Washington County, except there are no appointments.
Yeah.
And then they have they had a red thing pop up on the screen, because I went through every local place. And I actually do this a couple times a week, but I spent a lot of time doing it yesterday. And it just said, due to lack of vaccinations, Monday's clinic will be canceled. So not only are they not doing it very well, now they can't get the product.
Yeah.
And a lot of the country was hit by a snowstorm. So moving packages is not the easiest thing in the world. Certainly not with the necessity of what these vaccines are. You're not able to get them if you're just a regular, even if you're in the category 1. You're not able to get them because they're not available.
I know.
It's not so much a lack of places. I mean, Washington County has if you go up into the city of Washington, there's Giant Eagle, there's CVS, Walgreens, all the places that are distributing them. And here's where I think we really got into a problem. And what West Virginia did so right that other states didn't do correctly. At the beginning and the onset of this, West Virginia made it about your county health department. Pennsylvania sold the rights to drugstores.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. The federal government is trying to purchase as many of these as they can. And that's not a Trump or Biden thing, that's just the thing. The government's trying to buy as many as they can to get them in as many arms as they can. And then Pennsylvania is more worried about the rights of who gets to put them in your arm. That's stupid. That's absolutely stupid. West Virginia didn't care. They were like, just get them into arms. Go to your county health department, get them in your arms. We'll register you here and push it to your county health department so it gets in your arm. Pennsylvania decided to make it a business. Oh, well, maybe you need some cosmetics or toilet paper while you're at the CVS, so we'll sell you the rights to put them in arms. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And look what it's created. Look what it has created. My friend is on 5 different lists. And he is someone who needs it as soon as possible for his medical issues. 5 different lists. He's a veteran. Can't even get it through the VA. They were like, yeah, we'll call you if and when. I don't know how it can go so wrong. I don't know how it can go so wrong. But man, it has gone so wrong. Speaking of wrong, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Also, check us out. We have a newly launched website. Looks good, nice, smooth, and easy to get through. That is watchdognetwork.com. You can also follow along on our Facebook page. Just find the Watchdog on Facebook. Hit the like button, and we'll appear in your feed every time we go live. But the thing that's going on with Andrew Cuomo is getting worse and worse. This guy, I think, is buried on this. I don't think there's any getting out of it. As the United States approached the 500,000 dead milestone over the weekend, I can understand why people are questioning all of this. We have a scandal in one of the biggest states in America hiding the numbers. Is that number higher? Is it higher? Probably. It very well could be. I mean, I don't know if it's higher by a few thousand. I don't know if it's higher by a few hundred. Is it been overestimated in other places? Which we saw a lot of that. We saw a lot of people, there was the story about it, and I'm pretty sure when it happened, I mean, I wasn't here yet, but I remember when this happened, I remember looking it up on Snopes, and I think that they had confirmed that it was true. A guy died in a motorcycle accident, was COVID positive, and they counted him as a COVID death.
I've heard that, anecdotal stories about that all the time. If you died in the hospital, they were chalking you up to COVID, regardless of what. Now, I don't know if it's true, but that was one of the stories going around initially.
Yeah, I think it was a guy in Florida. And, so we really, again, the mistrust of everything. We hear this grim milestone of 500,000 people died from COVID. And that's, obviously a lot of people died from COVID. So whether it's 500,000, 499, or 600,000, it stinks either way. Yeah. Let's not take the effectiveness of hearing that number and it blowing your mind out of the equation. But what is the real number? And right now, things do not look good for Andrew Cuomo. On March 25th of last year, which when this thing first got started, he was putting people in nursing homes. And then apparently not reporting the true number. Did you read the story about how Cuomo was threatening? He was threatening somebody that was working for him about letting that story out?
No, but it doesn't. I'm not necessarily surprised.
Yeah. I'm not surprised either. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. More so than him running for president, maybe more so him running from the law. This is not going to go bad. This is not going to go well. And I have a feeling that Andrew Cuomo is going to be in a lot of trouble. If you want to point your finger at somebody who was... Because the beginning of this, Mike DeWine and Amy Acton were really put up on a pedestal with the way that they handled this. And so was Cuomo. I don't know that they were ready to erect a statue, but they really thought he was doing a good job, and seemingly he was. Well, that may have been aided by the fact that they were hiding the numbers of people. You saw the refrigeration trucks at hospitals for dead bodies. And you just had to wonder how many of them were not reported as COVID deaths. And that's the thing. You another story that continues to build mistrust in people. It continues to build that mistrust in people, wondering what the real number is. How many are not reported? This was a really terrible story. Did you see the lung transplant patient that died?
No.
The lungs that they received were someone who tested positive for COVID. They put COVID lungs in somebody's body. That person died from COVID, and the doctor got COVID as well that performed the surgery. How does that happen? Organ transplant patient dies after receiving COVID-infected lungs. That scares the hell out of me. I told you I had a friend. I have a friend. He's still my friend, but a couple of months ago, he became a living donor of his liver to his mother. They cut out 60% of his liver and gave it to his mom. So she had cirrhosis, non-alcoholic cirrhosis. I worried about this so much for him. And it wasn't me, but I still worried so much. Like the idea of going to a hospital right now scared me. I was like, it's a double-edged sword. It's like your mother needs this liver, but you also have to go to the hospital and be there for days to give it to her. And that was a living donor situation, but a lot of donors, and I'm an organ donor, if there's something in this pile of bones when I'm gone that can help somebody, give it to them. Give it to them. Eyes, whatever it is, give it to them. I don't need it. But I seriously wonder how that could happen. And I'm not smart enough to know. I'm not a doctor, I have no idea, but man, the story certainly is scary.
I wonder if, you can have been infected, but they say always wait 3 days before you get a test.
I waited 5.
Well, but I'm just saying, that's, it doesn't really show up like the day after. Well, with a transplant like that, it has to be taken out, sent somewhere, and used within a very short, hours.
Yeah.
Usually hours. So you have somebody that has just been infected. They don't know it. A test won't show it yet. So they go ahead and they harvest the lungs and they send them over and they're transplanted into somebody. And then the virus becomes active enough that it can be tested, it'll show up in a test. I would think that's probably, because they run so many tests on all these organs before they are used. But, if there's that time frame in there where you got to quickly move on something and yet it's a longer period of time than it would show up, I just wonder if that's what happened.
They said all the screening that we normally do and are able to do, we did. The good news is the University of Michigan Medical School is saying that this is an isolated and only confirmed case among nearly 40,000 transplants since last year. So, it's only one time, because that's like winning the worst lottery ever.
Well, I know, that would be my luck.
Yeah, it's how awful. How bad your family must feel. I'm not trying to paint a negative picture. I'm not trying to make everything sad today. I'm just saying that is just a shocking thing. 1 out of 40,000 transplants since COVID started, and you got the unlucky lung. That is just absolutely terrible. So we'll finish this segment on a really happy note. Even though the COVID-19 has shattered so many lives and businesses and things like that, it also has brought out the best of people helping other people. At the beginning, we saw breweries making hand sanitizer because there wasn't enough to go around. We saw a lot of people helping people, and this is a very nice story. It was 19 degrees, snowstorm, all the worst things that were happening that usually happen in our region. This story, by the way, has picked up national attention, but happened in our region, in the Mount Pleasant, Donegal area of Pennsylvania. I believe that's exit 9 off the turnpike, just to give you an idea of where it is in the Laurel Highlands. And a local pharmacist drove vaccine to 2 homebound patients and their sick daughter through a snowstorm. And Donegal, and that area is not easy. I spent a lot of time there. I went to school in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, which is not far. That is not an easy area to navigate at all. So you had homebound parents and a very sick daughter. So the pharmacist got in his own 4-wheel drive vehicle, went through the Allegheny Mountains. Also had he had a cooler in his car with 3 doses of the Pfizer vaccine, and he wants nothing in return. I'll at least give his business a shout out to Hayden Pharmacy in Youngwood. The weather conditions were extreme, but when the vaccine rollout began, these people were of the most vulnerable population, so he drove 20 plus miles in a winter snowstorm to make sure he could deliver 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. 20 plus miles in a winter snowstorm to make sure he could deliver 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. 20 plus miles in a winter snowstorm to make sure he could deliver 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. 20 plus miles in a winter snowstorm to make sure he could deliver 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. 20 plus miles in a winter snowstorm to make sure he could deliver 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. 20 plus miles in a winter snowstorm to make sure he could deliver 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. 20 plus miles in a winter snowstorm to make sure he could deliver 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. 20 plus miles in a winter snowstorm to make sure he could deliver 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. 20 plus miles in a winter snowstorm to make sure he could deliver 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. 20 plus miles in a winter snowstorm to make sure he could those 2 vaccines to 65-year-old parents and the 34-year-old daughter who is homebound and has extreme risk of the virus. So you want to talk about good things coming out of this, stories that make you go, I have a little faith in humanity.
There's far more of those than the boo-hoo, kind.
There are, and that's why when I find them, I try to share them. We don't share the good stuff nearly as much as we should. I don't know why.
Because if it bleeds, it leads.
Well, yeah.
I'm serious.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. I don't know why I wish we weren't that way, I guess. I mean, I could wish that all we want. But when we do find the positive stuff, we should share it. 304-214-1600. We're going to take a break. We come back and talk about anything you want. We got lots of sports stuff to talk about today, too. We got some Trump news. Again, if it bleeds, it leads. He's never going to go away. It's never going to go away. Some of his news is good. Some of his news is bad. Some of it's interesting. We'll get to Trump stuff next on The Watchdog.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive, and drink responsibly. From your friends at Wine and Beverage Merchant.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
This is Wheeling Fire Chief Larry Holmes, reminding everyone about the seriousness of this COVID-19 in our region during these colder weather months. This virus is spreading rapidly and could put a strain on our hospitals and emergency services. I am asking everyone to please wear a mask. It's important to make sure your mask cover your nose and your mouth at all times. Wearing a mask is one of the only defensive tactics we have to slow this virus down. Remember, wear a mask, stay apart, and wash your hands.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there's one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at DoanFord.com.
I'm not buying till I check Doan Ford.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together we will get through this.
Now's a great time to go Toyota for reliability, value, and style. And RAV4 is the #1 selling SUV in America over the last year, with available all-wheel drive in gas or hybrid models. Now, get up to $1,000 cash back from Toyota through March 1st. For more offers, shop Toyota's official website for deals. Buyatoyota.com. Then see your Toyota dealer. Go Toyota, and let's go places.
This is Wheeling Fire Chief Larry Holmes, reminding everyone about the seriousness of this COVID-19 in our region during these colder weather months. This virus is spreading rapidly and could put a strain on our hospitals and emergency services. I am asking everyone to please wear a mask. It's important to make sure your mask cover your nose and your mouth at all times. Wearing a mask is one of the only defensive tactics we have to slow this virus down. Remember, wear a mask, stay apart, and wash your hands.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
Go for the Mountaineers on their Texas tour. Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Caridi. That story and more coming up on today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger.
Did you know that 1 in 8 Americans struggle with hunger? Yet more than 40% of the food we produce is thrown out. At Kroger, we know we can do something about this. We're donating more food to local food banks through our partnership with Feeding America. And we're working with World Wildlife Fund to end food waste. But we can't do it alone, and we hope you'll join us in creating a world with zero hunger and zero waste. Visit thekrogerco.com to learn how you can help.
Love getting prices that are lower than low on backyard favorites like grill-ready hamburgers and fresh-picked strawberries? Then shop at Kroger. We give you more ways to save on the fresh you love with tools like the Kroger app, where you can find personalized coupons on top of weekly sales, plus rewards like fuel points, giving you prices that are lower than the everyday low. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
The Mountaineers continuing their 3-game road trip in Texas as they look ahead to tomorrow night's game against the Frogs of TCU. A program note, it's the Bob Huggins Show tonight, Hugs in Texas, and we invite you to join us beginning at 7 o'clock for 2 hours of Mountaineer basketball conversation. West Virginia will enter that TCU game riding the fumes from Saturday's dramatic 84-82 victory over the Texas Longhorns. West Virginia trailed by as many as 19 points in the second half and then outscored Texas 41-20 over the final 18 minutes of play. Key second half performance from Sean McNeil. The junior from Union, Kentucky, scored all 16 of his points in the second half, including 3 3-pointers and 3 key free throws in the final moments of the game. All totaled, West Virginia had 5 players in double figures, led by the sophomore Deuce McBride, who scored 17 points. McNeil with his 16, and then 3 other Mountaineers, all with 14 points. Derek Culver, 14 points to go along with 5 rebounds. Emmett Matthews, 14 points to go along with 7 rebounds, and a 14-point performance from Taz Sherman, who finished the game 6 out of 6 from the free throw line. It's the second time this season that West Virginia has come back from a 19-point deficit on the road. They had done it earlier against Oklahoma State, and now they get Texas. 84-82 the final score as West Virginia splits the season series with the Longhorns. The victory puts West Virginia at 15-6 overall and now 8-4 in conference play. Join us tonight beginning at 7 for the Bob Huggins Show. That is today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics. I'm Tony Caridi on the Mountaineer Sports Network from Learfield, IMG College.
He can talk up and down Route 2 and Route 7 at the same time. Just ask him. Keeping it real for your ride home. It's Real Big Talk with Big Rick on The Watchdog.
Welcome back, everybody. 3:38. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. It's Real Big Talk. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm kind of distracted at the moment because I just got an email update telling me that there's a new clinic that's going to have doses this week near my house. And that is exciting, but of course means nothing until it actually happens.
Well, until they call you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have my name on a few lists. Not like I mentioned, my friend has his name on 5 lists. And that's, incredibly difficult. The wait, what is it, Tom Petty? Waiting is the hardest part. It absolutely is. And this is the game that we're being made to play. That's why West Virginia is getting national praise for the things that they're doing. And Pennsylvania is absolutely getting slammed for the things it's not doing. It's the middle of the day. I'm at my job. but the possibility of possibly getting notified that I could maybe perhaps get a vaccination.
We were on the air when my phone call came in, and I just turned my mic off. It was like, I am not missing this phone call.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly difficult, and it's not even something that I can go through and do while we're on the air here, but that's what I mean. Like, you're being made to play a game in the state of, you shouldn't have to do that.
No.
You shouldn't have to do that. And I'm not saying, look, I get it. Sometimes, like when you have to go to the doctor, you have to go when the doctor has appointments. And yeah, you try to schedule them around your life, but you have to go when the doctor's available.
Yeah.
Not necessarily when you're available. This is a game. This is a pop-up notice that you have to hope that you fill out fast enough. It's ridiculous.
So you got to fill something out right now?
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. Go ahead. Wait a minute. What?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't even know that filling it out is going to make a difference. I filled the same thing out 5 times.
Well, make it 6.
All right. If you don't mind,
No.
we'll take a little break, and yeah, I'll see if I can finish filling this out. Maybe I can get vaccinated.
Okay.
All right. We'll be back on the Watchdog.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive, and drink responsibly. From your friends at Wine and Beverage Merchants.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
This is Living Fire Chief Larry Helms, reminding everyone about the seriousness of this COVID-19 in our region during these colder weather months. This virus is spreading rapidly and could put a strain on our hospitals and emergency services. I am asking everyone to please wear a mask. It's important to make sure your mask covers your nose and your mouth at all times. Wearing a mask is one of the only defensive tactics we have to slow this virus down. Remember, wear a mask, stay apart, and wash your hands.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there's one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at DoanFord.com.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together we will get through this.
Now's a great time to go Toyota for reliability, value, and style. And RAV4 is the #1 selling SUV in America over the last year, with available all-wheel drive in gas or hybrid models. Now get up to $1,000 cash back from Toyota through March 1st. For more offers, shop Toyota's official website for deals. Buyatoyota.com. Then see your Toyota dealer. Go Toyota, and let's go places.
This is Wheeling Fire Chief Larry Helms, reminding everyone about the seriousness of this COVID-19 in our region during these colder weather months. This virus is spreading rapidly and could put a strain on our hospitals and emergency services. I am asking everyone to please wear a mask. It's important to make sure your mask covers your nose and your mouth at all times. Wearing a mask is one of the only defensive tactics we have to slow this virus down. Remember, wear a mask, stay apart, and wash your hands.
I got my first real 6-string, bought it at the 5 and dime, played it till my fingers bled. Was the summer of '69. Me and some guys from school had a band and we tried real hard.
Welcome back to Real Big Talk. Much to do about nothing. The way to describe the last 5 minutes of my life. That's the difficulty we face in Pennsylvania. Here's an alert. You could possibly get vaccinated, except within a matter of 2 minutes, all the appointments are gone. And that's exactly what just happened to me. I saw it, I sent through, and then immediately, no appointments available. It really feels like a game. It really feels like a game that they're playing. And it is unbelievable that it keeps happening like that. And it's unbelievable. But that's where we're at. They're just not taking it in the correct direction for so many places. And Pennsylvania is, honestly, it's one of the worst. I'm not saying that because I live there. It's just nationally ranked. One of the worst places to try to get vaccinated. Let's get back to what we're going to talk about before I just absolutely explode. God, that it enrages me. Speaking of people that are enraged, Donald Trump not having a good day. Supreme Court allows release of Trump tax returns to New York prosecutor. He was not happy about that. He was not happy about that at all. I have no idea what it's like to have the business ventures, whether they be successful or non-successful. Donald Trump. I've owned one little business in my life, and it went really well while I owned it, and then I moved away, so I closed it down because I lived somewhere else after that. And I remember that the taxes to owning a business were a little more difficult than just your standard 1040 EZs, but it really wasn't that difficult. You just basically got an extra form. So I can't imagine what tax returns are like if you have a bunch of holdings and investments and gains and losses and real estate. That I have no clue. I just never lived that life, don't have any idea of what that's really like. But if someone was hard-pressed and was pressing me to show them my tax returns, I would feel like, you know what? It's none of your business. But I'm not hiding anything because I don't have anything. So it's like, there you go. Look, paid some student loan debt. Check. A little bit of a tax break because I have a mortgage. Check. That's it. That's it. There's nothing terribly exciting. You'd probably go, wow, that's it? Yeah, that's it. So if you're Donald Trump, I can imagine you have a lot of things in there. And some of them, because everybody's looking for the way to pay less taxes. And if you're going out of your way to pay more taxes, I don't understand what you're doing. But I'm sure he has plenty of people, because there's plenty of money involved, that are looking for loopholes that he probably in some ways helped create.
Well, he's already said a lot, Yeah. The whole point is to pay as few taxes as absolutely positive, or absolutely
Possible.
Have to.
Yeah.
And, he's made that statement.
Sure. But now he has to show somebody else. And that's going to be interesting.
Well, and he had another defeat today, and the Supreme Court refused to hear a lawsuit brought by some Republicans in Pennsylvania, too.
Yeah,
trying to argue about the election. So 2 defeats in one day.
And he keeps going at it, too, with the election was stolen. He keeps going at it. I guess he was on Newsmax and continued that whole thing. So he is, he's not going away. And you said it before, before we went to break, before we had the emergency COVID vaccination break that never happened. The idea of if it bleeds, it leads.
Yep.
He's never going to go away. You know why? Because we won't let him.
No, I know. If everybody'd stop talking about him.
We won't let him. I read this morning he was talking about how polling shows he's more popular now than ever. 2 impeachments and I'm more popular now than ever, according to Donald Trump. And I don't know that he's wrong. I don't know that he's wrong. looking at the way people adamantly defend and demand all the Trump that they can get. I mean, again, social media shows you what you want to see, and since I search for so many different things, I see the good and the bad, the negative and the positive, but I don't think he's wrong. I think people are still demanding more Trump. They want more Trump. And it sounds like he's about to give it to them. This is according to the New York Post, although I've seen it in a few other places, but I have the Post up right now. Trump reportedly to claim he is presumptive 2024 nominee, leader of the GOP, in his CPAC speech. That's coming up later this week in Orlando. Next week, I guess it's coming up the weekend. We've talked enough about this. I mean, unfortunately, we have to talk about it for the rest of our lives, probably. But we've talked enough about this. I would love to know what this other group of Republican politicians is doing in the meantime. Because you want to talk about a party that's got no chance. If he goes there and he's talking about already being the presumptive nominee for 2024, we are going to have to listen to this for 3 years. It's not going to go away, even if he's not. He's going to talk about it until probably the day of the election in 2020.
The primary will get stolen from him, and, you know.
Can Republicans really let this happen? And can they do anything about it, I think may be the better question. Can they do anything about it? I don't think that they can. I think they are in such disarray right now that I don't think that there's anything they can do. I mean, he got into the big fight with Mitch. I don't know who still supports Mitch and who doesn't. And I bet he doesn't know that either.
No, I'm sure.
And not that I think he would be the person that was going to be the Republican nominee for president. I don't think that. But it would probably take his support to get there. And I don't know who still supports him. Does his voice carry like it used to? I don't know. But we are good. It sounds like, I can't predict the future. If I could, I would be doing something else probably. Get myself a little crystal ball, stand out of the corner, let you know what's going to happen to you. But this looks like what he's going to talk about at this CPAC thing over the weekend. I may not have Twitter or the Oval Office, but I'm still in charge, will be Trump's message to the group. That's from a longtime advisor of his. That's what he's going to say. He's still in charge. None of them look to be in charge of anything. And I would suggest whoever these Republicans are that want to put together the third party, if they're going to let Donald Trump and those Republicans that support him take the Republican Party, they better figure that out quick, because it's the beginning of 2021. And yeah, the primaries are a long time away, but if he keeps selling this, we've already seen if he sells the narrative, people buy it. People buy it. And I've never seen such inaction by a group of people. The Republicans hurried through a Supreme Court justice as quickly as they could possibly do it, but they can't even get themselves in enough of a meeting to go, all right, what are we going to do to take this back? Give ourselves an opportunity to separate from Trump. They're not doing anything. Not doing anything. By the way, at that same PAC, Mike Pence was offered an opportunity to speak and declined.
No. Yeah.
He declined.
Well, he is.
I wouldn't go either.
Well, Mike Pence, I almost felt sorry for him most of the time.
For about 10 minutes.
Well, no, because he was like an unwitting accomplice. What was he supposed to do? You know, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how the man looked in the mirror, and maybe he never did. I mean, the fly was probably still in his hair, but you know, I just felt bad. And yeah, he did all the right things. He handled his constitutional duties correctly. He wouldn't allow himself to be bullied with that. He made the appearance at the inauguration like it is, expected, and to show respect for the next incoming president. He just wants to be, I'm sure he's hibernating. It had been a really rough 4 years. And he's put in charge of something that could have saved lives, and he was cut off at the knees every time he turned around. So I don't blame him. Go on a long hiatus there and recoup your mental capabilities, because that would have been the most horrendous 4 years. And he was stuck. Other people could come and go, which a lot of them did.
And they did. Yeah, they did.
But he was stuck there. So
Pence declined an invitation to speak at the CPAC and does not plan to attend, organizers confirmed.
I don't blame him.
No. And it's said that it was reported later that this was due to the former vice president planning to avoid public events for the next several months. Pence's decision came after the former president, Donald Trump, who will be at the CPAC's most prominent speaker this weekend, repeatedly attacked him for refusing to go against the Constitution in an attempt to block the certification of President Joe Biden's electoral victory. Yeah, I mean, what an awkward situation. How do you patch that over? This is going to take it to a strange place, and it's just for an example, because it's the only time I can think that I've ever been in a place where you could cut the tension with a knife. Motley Crue in a band called Godsmack don't get along, and I watched them pass each other in a hallway once, and it was super uncomfortable because one wrote a song about the other band, and it was not very flattering. And that's just the stupid rock and roll game. This is the president and vice president of the United States game. And I can't imagine Mike Pence would have a whole lot to say. And it's funny you say, because I wouldn't imagine that we ever would be talking about, after watching what we watched over the last 4 years, that we would have a soft spot for Mike Pence.
I know.
I mean, honestly, Mike Pence never bothered me in any way, shape, or form. I just always kind of thought he didn't have a lot of personal intestinal fortitude, I guess. Like I felt like he got beat up a lot and he took it. But as a human being, he's just He's just there. He's just there. He wasn't somebody that I went, wow, this guy's doing a terrible job, or wow, this guy's blowing my mind. He's just there. Yeah. And I mean, he was meant to just be there. I think his job was to just be there. There have been plenty of, and you can YouTube it if you want to watch this for any purpose, but I remember seeing several times where Donald Trump just pushed him out of the way.
Oh, I know.
I mean, just physically put his arms on his shoulders and moved him so he could get to the front of the line. So I think Mike Pence was just there because he was a guy who could just be there.
He was nondescript.
Very much so.
He was that guy that you walk past on the street, and one step later, you can't remember a thing about him.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right. And I think for a lot of conservatives, had he been the president, I think everybody could have lived with that. The conservatives and Republicans could have lived with that, because I don't think he was going to do anything that wasn't just there. I don't think he was ever going to blow your mind with some great policy, and I don't think he was ever going to take it to a place that was so unlivable that it turned into an insurrection at the Capitol. I think he was just there. It was just a guy who was there. So, whatever it becomes of that, but he's not going. I don't know what his political future will be, and if he's going to lay low, it sounds like he's going to wait to see if he even can re-enter into the world of politics.
If he's smart, he won't.
Why would you? Why would you want to? I mean, if for some reason he comes out as a guy that gets, that decides he's going to throw his hat into the presidential race for 2024. That's like the most WWE Vince McMahon move we've ever seen in our lives. It's like the ultimate turn. We're going to take a break. We'll catch up with the news, and then we'll get back into some sports and other things right here on The Watchdog.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. The U.S. now very close to another grim milestone in the COVID-19 pandemic.
The U.S. is set to surpass 500,000 COVID-19 deaths just 34 days since it passed 400,000. It took just 96 days for the U.S. to double its death toll from 250,000 to today's 500,000. The U.S. death toll is now about 3/4 the number of recorded deaths from the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
President Biden will order flags to half-staff in honor of those who died. The president announcing today that small businesses will be able to apply over a 2-week period for additional paycheck protection funding, saying they got squeezed out by the big guys last time, and he made another pitch for bipartisan support for his COVID-19 relief plan.
We need Congress to pass my American Rescue Plan.
The president again said he's open to input from Republicans to get them on board, but
now critics say the plan is too big. Let me ask them a rhetorical question. What would you have me cut? What would you leave out?
Mr. Biden has also said he will not get bogged down in negotiations with Republicans at the expense of getting a relief bill through Congress. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
An emotional moment today at the Senate confirmation hearing for Attorney General nominee Merrick Garland. Asked about his motivation to be our nation's top prosecutor, Garland telling the Senate Judiciary Committee that his grandparents immigrated to the U.S. after fleeing anti-Semitism.
I feel an obligation to the country to pay back. And this is the highest, best use of my own set of skills.
Garland's nomination to the U.S. Supreme Court was blocked by Republicans during the Obama years by the very same committee. Dominion Voting Systems today filed a $1.3 billion defamation lawsuit against Trump ally Mike Lindell and his company MyPillow, alleging he helped push false theories about the voting company rigging the 2020 election. You're listening to ABC News.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet Jet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
Okay, set it down over there and then go to Bay 5.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business
We
thin.
need to keep going to finish.
Like Amir's warehouse. To expand capacity, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn talking about the deadly siege there last month.
It wasn't just a mob or a bunch of thugs, you know. They were terrorists. They tried to disrupt this country's democracy. That was their goal.
Dunn speaking exclusively to ABC News.
Is this America? They beat police officers with Blue Lives Matter flags.
Dunn also saying he saw law enforcement personnel taking part in the attacks. Teachers may be more important drivers of coronavirus transmission in schools than students are. A new CDC study looked into 9 COVID clusters at suburban Atlanta grade schools, finding only one where a student was clearly the first documented case. Israel could be heading towards a collision course with the U.S. as the White House reopens channels with Iran.
Israel's prime minister holding a cabinet meeting with government rivals, that to build a consensus on how to approach the Biden administration's decision to re-engage Iran and its intention to rejoin the Iran nuclear deal. Netanyahu stridently opposes a U.S. return to the deal, which he says will not prevent, but rather pave the way for a nuclear Iran. Netanyahu's meeting coming as the head of the UN's nuclear watchdog confirmed Iran will allow, quote, less access to its disputed nuclear facilities, including no SNAP inspections. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
This is ABC News.
What's in store this week at Staples?
Everything you need for a totally productive workspace.
Staples has the technology, supplies, and furniture you need to upgrade your workspace at amazing prices.
Like right now, select chairs are 40% off.
Plus, when you buy any office chair, get 25% off all desks, file cabinets, chair mats, bookcases, and lighting purchases.
Shop in store or pick up curbside.
Upgrade your workspace and save at Staples. See staplesconnect.com for details.
Ends 2/27/21. In store only while supplies last. Curbside available at most stores.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
Dutch Boy's new Platinum Plus paint with Stain Shield technology has the performance you expect from a luxury paint at a price you didn't. Platinum Plus is up to 50% more washable and stain resistant than a leading premium paint in satin sheen. Superiority ranges from 24 to 50% depending on sheen selected. Platinum Plus keeps your walls looking new longer. Menards and Dutch Boy paint have you covered. Go ahead, live your life.
Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Savings or a mail-in rebate. See store for details.
Now's a great time to go Toyota for reliability, value, and style. And RAV4 is the #1 selling SUV in America over the last year, with available all-wheel drive in gas or hybrid models. Now, get up to $1,000 cash back from Toyota through March 1st. For more offers, shop Toyota's official website for deals. Buyatoyota.com. Then see your Toyota dealer. Go Toyota, and let's go places.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
President Barack Obama, born in Honolulu, Hawaii, graduated from Columbia and Harvard University, served as a Chicago organizer, became the Senator of Illinois, and the 44th President of the United States, the first African American to do so. That ought to tell all of us, big dreams do come true. That's not just Black history, that's American history.
Technology can be challenging for business leaders, but Omni Strategic Technologies enables your business to perform without limits. They're the only IT company the watchdog trusts. Omni offers IT managed services, cybersecurity and advisory solutions, backup and disaster recovery, and can handle all your hardware needs. If your business is faced with any technology challenges, the answer is simple. Call Omni Strategic Technologies at 304-242-7600 or visit them at www.omniperforms.com.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast to start your work week. You're going to see mostly cloudy skies with a few raindrops mixing in with some snowflakes through the day. The daytime high in the lower 40s. Your overnight low of 33 degrees with a few light snow showers expected. Otherwise, mostly cloudy conditions. A milder day with temperatures in the low 40s for your Tuesday. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors. It's not red. It's not blue. It's just real. Real Big Talk with Big Rick continues now on The Watchdog.
Mr. Roboto. Dopo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Mata onimane. Dopo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Itsu wo shiritai.
You're wondering who I am.
Far be it from me to not listen to all of Mr. Roboto. I totally could. It's Big Rick, that's Lola, it's Real Big Talk. And I wanted to mention this before we get into talking about some of the sports stuff, because I caught a clip of it in the news break. Did you guys see this woman who said that she was one of the leaders in the Oath Keepers who were part of the insurrection at the Capitol on the 6th of January? She said she was VIP security at the Trump rally. Did you happen to see any of that, Lola? The woman who was one of the Oath Keepers who said she was VIP security at the Trump rally.
Yes.
And then she said she actually met with Secret Service people. Now, this is what she said. I'm not saying that it happened. I'm just saying this is what she said. That she met with Secret Service people before the insurrection of the Capitol. And I had mentioned this, and I was going to go into sports here, but I caught a part of the break there, of the news break, to hear the gentleman talking about how, the insurrectionists were beating Capitol police officers with Blue Lives Matter flags, which really might be the most insulting thing I've ever heard. But yeah, this is a strange story, and there's a lot of layers to this onion that we aren't going to find out about over the next year. But I do find it odd that, if you're an Oath Keeper, just simply the name Oath Keeper would probably imply that you keep your mouth shut about things you probably shouldn't talk about. I don't think I would dump the fuel on the fire if they were already looking at me for doing something I shouldn't have done or being somewhere I shouldn't. The term Oath Keeper, I would assume that's to keep your business private, part of that oath. I don't know. Apparently this woman was from Ohio. A lot of people that are getting arrested and tracked for this are from Ohio. A lot.
That's where part of the scheme to kidnap Governor Whitmer was found, was worked on, was in Ohio.
Yeah, this is, everybody's looking at you, Ohio, for all of this. But yeah, I heard that piece in the news there, and I thought, my goodness, they were beating cops with Black Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter flags. That is not the video, the 13-minute video that they showed, and obviously never went anywhere, and I don't want to revisit the whole impeachment thing. But if you haven't watched it, it's powerful. It's powerful. And it shows a lot of things that you're going to wish you never saw. But if you don't watch it, you're never going to get an idea of how bad it was. I think it's funny, too, they're still fighting over the idea of should there be heightened security at the Capitol and should the fence stay around it. I can tell you, if I worked there, I'd want it to be as secure as possible. I don't think whatever's next, because it's not over. At some point, whatever's next probably won't happen at the Capitol. I wouldn't say that you shouldn't be secure. I just don't think it'll happen there. We would read last week, sometime in March is the next big day for the QAnoners.
Yeah, March 3rd or some bizarre random date.
Yeah, early March, the QAnoners have something planned. At least that's what they say. Hopefully it's just another stupid QAnon thing that doesn't make any sense, but we'll see. We'll see. But whatever it is, I don't think it's going to be around the Capitol. It amazes me that people still fight about whether the Capitol should have extra security. Yeah, I would say so. Mm-hmm. Considering, like Lola mentioned, even the, when they tried to kidnap the governor of Michigan, I would imagine that place has heightened security now, and it probably had a lot of security before it started. I probably would need some extra. What is the idea? What good could come out of less security at this point? Anywhere. What good could come out of less security? You know what? Let's ease the security restrictions. Because everybody seems to be in a cool, calm, rational place right now. So let's just go ahead and peel back on security. Said no one ever anywhere? No, I don't get it. I mean, the fence is ugly around the Capitol, I won't lie. It does take away the beauty. But you know what it does? It keeps people out that shouldn't be in there. That's probably a good thing. That is probably a good thing.
So do SWAT teams.
Yeah, but this Oath Keepers thing is really a crazy story. Claims to be VIP security at Trump rally before riot and says she met with Secret Service agents. Boy, what if we find out that that's true? What if we find out that that is true? That is a tough pill to swallow. The video that's playing on the page that I'm looking at right now is really tough to watch. It's really tough to watch. And I hate to say it because I never wanted to think this way. But there had to be, just looking at this video, there had to be people on the inside that knew what was happening here. There had to be. And I'm not putting too much emphasis on this Oath Keeper lady telling the truth. What I'm saying is, it just seems impossible without help from the inside that all these things happened on the inside. People gathering outside, I'm not shocked by it. People gather outside things all the time. But the intimate knowledge of where to go, what to do, and how to do it, man, it does not lend itself to believe that it happened naturally.
I'm still asking the question. And I know there's an answer for it. Easily found, I'm sure, if you're, in the Capitol looking for stuff. Who were the senators or representatives, whoever, that had groups come through the day before for a tour? That's easily, you have to go through security, and especially during COVID. They weren't letting, there was no where you can buy a ticket and go.
No.
You had to be with somebody that was in authority that got you that pass.
And you would think that the people that were there would have to show their IDs. They would be scanned somewhere. You can't even get a library book without an ID, I don't think.
No.
Why, how is that not something that's come out? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Unless they're just, the feds like to play stuff really close to the vest. And, this is an ongoing investigation. And so, why tip your hand ahead of time, I guess.
Yeah.
And just because she met with Secret Service I'm not putting much stock that Secret Service gave her the okay to go and do that.
No, I'm not either. I don't, look, I mean, honestly, she could absolutely be lying just to add fuel to the fire. I don't know.
Well, trying to get her butt out of it.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, some people don't think that Donald Trump was responsible for it. If you were VIP security at the Trump rally and then you met with Secret Service agents, that does not add to you being innocent in this whole thing. I don't know why you would even say it if it's true. I don't know. The whole thing just shocks me. You'll find this to be enjoyable too, Lola. Off the subject, but still one of our favorites to talk about. There have been mariachi bands playing off and on all day in Ted Cruz's front yard, so he knows what it's like, what he's missing in Mexico. Yeah, that's true.
You did it to me again.
I didn't realize you were drinking. I was looking the other direction. But yeah, there are mariachi bands playing at Ted Cruz's place on his front lawn. That's never going to go away. I mean, he'll probably be reelected again, and it's no big deal for the people of Texas. But yeah, that's something that he's probably going to do. Just look outside, listen to the mariachis, and let it roll. Let it roll, Ted. Let it roll. Definitely want to get into to some other things. There's a lot of stuff on the plate today, for sure. I want to talk about sports a little bit too. Over the weekend, Saturday, By the way, 304-214-1600, the phone number if you want to get in on anything. Over the weekend, Sidney Crosby played in his 1,000th Penguin game. 1,000. He's been on the Penguins since 2005, so it took him almost 16 years with some tough injuries, too, to get to 1,000. I think the kid's going to play in 1,500 games. I really do. I think he'll hit 1,500. And for the NHL's sake, they better hope that he does. Nice ceremony for him. It stinks that there weren't fans there for him to, even if they'd have been on the road, it just stinks there weren't fans there to enjoy it. Because had it been a home game, I would have been one of those fans, and I would have enjoyed it very much so. He got the traditional gifts from his teammates and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he went out and he got a couple of points and helped the Penguins win against the Islanders, consecutive games. And the Pens don't look as bad as they did. Things look still early to tell, but they're scrapping it out with the Islanders and the Capitals, which is where they have to be if they want to make the playoffs. So it was nice to see the Pens take that opportunity. A couple Pens games this weekend against Washington, I believe, this week, Tuesday and Thursday, I believe, are those games. But good to see. Other NHL news, this is a weird one. This is a real weird one. Have you read the story about Artemi Panarin? Well, Artemi Panarin is Russian, and he plays for the Rangers. And those things only matter to you for the purpose that I'm about to tell you. He has just taken a leave of absence from the team for personal reasons. It's why this is terrifying. So this comes after a Russian newspaper published allegations from Panarin's former KHL coach claiming the winger got into a physical altercation with an 18-year-old woman in Latvia in 2011, so 10 years ago. He says that he sent her to the floor with several powerful blows, according to the translation provided to ESPN. He has previously criticized Panarin's outspoken beliefs toward Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now, last week, or in the last 2 weeks, Panarin had posted things to his social media that were anti-Putin. And now all of a sudden, a story that could be true or not true from 10 years ago comes up in a Russian newspaper. Russia's free-ish. I mentioned to you one time how I went to Russia in 1995, and Russians didn't know what to do with their freedom. They actually just exchanged ideas in the middle of the street, and some people did not want the fall of communism, and some people did not know what to do with their freedoms, but they were happy to have them. I don't know that they're entirely free. Putin seems to have a pretty strong hold on what people say and do in Russia. And for this to come up 10 years later, and I'm not victim shaming the victim if there is a victim. This is a story that's not being told by a victim. This is a story that's being told by a hockey coach that Panarin had 10 years ago. And now Panarin took a rest from his team. I bet he's nervous about what could happen. And I don't blame him. I don't think Putin is a well unit. The guy wrestles bears for fun. But this kid had to take time off away from his NHL team living in New York, which does have a very strong and Russian population in New York City, which is why that's one of the places that if Evgeny Malkin ever went, he'd probably end up going to the Rangers because he wants to live in a place that has...
Brighton Beach.
Yeah, have a place that has other Russian people around. But yeah, that's scary to think that you could be in America playing hockey at a very high level and just away from Mother Russia, and yet it can essentially crush you from there. He can't be speaking freely about how he feels about Putin on his social media. Translate that into our culture of being American. People have accused Trump of everything. People accuse Joe Biden of everything too. They even accuse him of having dementia. I mean, you can say anything you want about American politicians here on your social media, and 85 people hit the like button. Panarin posts how he feels about the Russian president while living in America, and he had to take time away from his team. He's that scared. That's bad.
Well, look what happened to Navalny, I think his name was, the one that was so vocal about Putin. He gets on an airplane and ends up being poisoned with, some bizarre Soviet-backed chemical poison.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like crossing the mob.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And some of these guys want to go back. Like, I think someday Malkin will go back. Someday Ovechkin will probably go back and live in Russia. I mean, you could live like a king in Russia with the money that those guys have amassed. But that's scary to me. You can't say anything about it. You can live in a whole entirely different country, be one of your nation's, highest earning, highest grossing hockey players. And I would imagine the Russian government made this story come out 10 years later because it's not coming from a victim. It's coming from a former coach. And that is not good. That is not good at all. The NHL over the weekend, we'll finish up this segment with another little NHL nugget. I was so excited. We talked about it on Friday, I think, about the outdoor games that were being played at Lake Tahoe. Mm-hmm. And you want to talk about a gorgeous setting. Mm-hmm. My goodness, it was breathtaking. Playing hockey out there, although it had its issues, had to be beautiful. The NHL, of course, didn't account for the fact that the sun might come out. On Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, I sat down. I had my glass of Turner's iced tea. I was ready to watch hockey, and I got to watch a whole period. And then, if you didn't see this, the NHL, who actually went out of its way to provide something cool during this, something they can't do during a regular season because you can't put fans there, they go out of their way to give you something special in an effort to attract new fans. And it had every potential to do that, except they didn't account for the sun. Had the game started an hour and a half earlier, it was overcast there and snowing. Well, the sun came out at the end, right when the game started, and by the end of the first period, the ice was in such poor condition, they couldn't continue the game. They couldn't keep the ice frozen because the sun was beating down on it. Mm-hmm. Now, we've seen this happen before. It happened in Pittsburgh. There was one of the Winter Classic games that was in Pittsburgh, was scheduled to be an afternoon game, but on New Year's Day, it was warmer than they expected, so they moved it before the game started to after nightfall. Okay, that can happen. They didn't conclude this game until midnight on Saturday. That's when this game finished. Even the NHL, like Major League Baseball would never go out of its way to give you something special. You're gonna see essentially the same 162 looking baseball games all season. I love baseball, but it's a boring sport. You can get up, get a drink, go to the bathroom, let your dog out, come back, and it's still a 3-2 count. Mm-hmm. So baseball's not exciting. Hockey tried to make itself exciting and, of course, gets paid back by Mother Nature by not letting them play a game and finish out a game until midnight. You know who watched it? No one. No one. And I would imagine, considering the way we look at these television networks, just absolutely torch things like the NFL. The NFL absolutely torches these networks. Did you see the NFL wants 100% increase on current contracts to these networks? 100%. And you also see, we saw Fox really put the heat on, and NBC put the heat on the WWE because the ratings were going down and they had to have live programming on during the pandemic because that's what the contracts called for. So NBC, who is barely hanging on with a thread with the NHL, all they want is an afternoon game on a day that no one's watching anything to bring people to NBC, and they got to play it at midnight. What a disaster.
I felt bad for him.
I did too. I mean, I did too. I'm just a hockey guy, so I was ready to watch it. And I could care less about the two teams. They made no impact in my life whatsoever. I just thought it was cool as hell. Unfortunately, it turned out to be hot as hell, and they couldn't keep the ice frozen. They had to, in order to make sure that game played, even at midnight, because if you saw it at 3 o'clock, there were no lights around the rink.
I said that to my sister. I said, no, I wonder how they're going to do this. They did have, I don't know, a couple banks of lights, but they weren't necessarily even shining down on the ice. I figured it was probably for some.
Well, they had people working there nonstop, so they had to have some lights, but not game-ready lights. You know, if you go to the Nailers game, the ice is well lit because the guys need to see the puck.
Yeah.
They need to see the puck. The NHL just takes, as far as they try to move forward with doing something special, is as far back as they get sent. I mean, they just can't seem to pull it together, which is a shame. But Penguins coming up this week, Tuesday and Thursday against the Capitals, and they look good. They look good. The game yesterday, by the way, in that outdoor NHL series, Philadelphia absolutely got punished by the Bruins. The Bruins look unstoppable. They look unstoppable. 7-3 final in that one. We come back. We'll have our last segment of the show. We'll get into a few other sports topics, some weird news and notes too. This is the Watchdog.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey! Hey, buddy! Yeah! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it!
Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go. 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure. I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands is the perfect place to relax after a long day. Happy hour from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Get $2 off appetizers, $3 off domestic drafts, and house wine specials. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA. Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands with another steal of a deal. Get a steak burger and fries all day Monday for only $8.99. It's also Military Mondays. The Lube will take 25% off for all veterans, active duty military, and first responders. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA.
Are you struggling to make payments due to an unexpected financial obligation or loss of income? Are you receiving calls from debt collectors? Are you feeling overwhelmed and unsure of what steps to take next? Then you need the experience and expertise of attorney Tom McIntyre and his staff to help guide you through these temporary hardships. Want to hear more about how Tom can help? Then call 877-456-4155 and receive a free copy of Tom's ebook, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Tom's ebook covers many questions people have about bankruptcy and includes interesting stories about people who tried to avoid filing and people who have filed for bankruptcy. We think you'll be surprised to learn some interesting facts about bankruptcy. Call 877-456-4155.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at GellnerLaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Kamala Harris, African American, Asian, woman, Vice President of the United States of America, born in Oakland, California, graduated from Howard University and the University of California, District Attorney for San Francisco, became the Attorney General and also the Senator from California. That ought to tell girls, women, people that impossible dreams do come true. That's not just Black history, that's American history.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there is one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at DoanFord.com.
I'm not buying till I check Doan Ford. For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. Active COVID-19 cases in West Virginia have dropped by an average of 484 a day in the past month. Today, active cases are at 8,795, their lowest level since November 12th. Just a month ago, active cases exceeded 23,000. State Department of Health and Human Resources releasing new numbers today. You can read more at WVMetroNews.com. Crews working to restore power in hard-hit western West Virginia are making more progress today. The restoration efforts began after ice storms on February 11th and another storm on February 15th. Appalachian Power Company spokesman Phil Moy has gotten a look at the damage and repair work firsthand.
But I mean, it's just trees that fell down and brought down 9 poles within a half mile on this one road, and that's a scene that's just repeated all over the place. So trees are just down all over the place, and I don't mean limbs, I mean whole trees.
There are 600 power poles being replaced as part of that work. The city of Huntington has officially dedicated what's called the Compass Centers for the city's police officers and firefighters in connection with the opioid epidemic. Mayor Steve Williams.
We came to understand with the challenges that our community was facing, we had to also do something not just to help those who were stricken with addiction, but we also had to do everything necessary to help those who are trying to help others.
Dedication services earlier today. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
For generations, Made in America has stood for quality and craftsmanship in manufacturing, food production, technology, and construction.
The Made in America label has brought our country economic security and our innovations to the world.
Made in America isn't just a slogan, it's the story of our country, the men and women who sacrificed to build our nation.
It's our commitment to hard work, ingenuity, and to making things better than the way we found them.
America is ready to get back to work.
And we can start by rebuilding our infrastructure,
strengthening our manufacturing base,
and investing in our businesses and our communities.
Made in America means hundreds of thousands of new jobs across the country.
It means new transportation, clean energy, and telecommunications networks.
It means a healthier environment,
national security, and economic freedom.
That's good for our families, good for the world, and good for our future. Let's get America back to work.
Let's invest in West Virginia.
Let's invest in us. Learn more at let'sinvestinus.com. Paid for by Citizens for Responsible Energy Solutions Forum.
The State Board of Education meets in special session tomorrow to likely mandate county school systems return to 5-day-a-week schedules, moving away from blended instruction schedules. Ahead of that meeting, the Wyoming and Harrison County school systems have today announced a return to 5-day-a-week in-person instruction. Wyoming County will begin this week. Harrison County says it'll start next week. Head of the State Division of Natural Resources, Steve McDaniel, wants to change the way the State Natural Resources Commission is formed. We have more on that story at our website this hour. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
He's not your father's talk show host, but your dad can listen too. Real Talk is right here, right here. Real Big Talk with Big Rick is on the Watchdog.
Welcome back. Well, thanks for joining us for the first time today. Either way, we're happy to have you. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. Usually in this last segment of the show, talk about some lighter stuff, and we'll do that. Finish off on a couple of quick sports topics, though. The Steelers did make a move to restructure. It's not Ben Roethlisberger, but they did restructure Cam Hayward's contract to create $7 million in cap space. Basically, Cam will get paid all the same. It's just they restructured. He'll receive his $10.5 million that was due in 2021, but he'll be paid via a bonus instead of over the term of the base of his salary. So essentially, he's going to make the same amount of money. And the weird accounting for football, doesn't it drive you nuts a little bit? Like, I just wish everybody got paid what they got paid, and then you just added it all up and make sure that you hit the number that you were supposed to hit. Being able to move all this stuff around is convenient, but again, I think it leads to more problems down the road. The Steelers' biggest problem still remains Ben Roethlisberger, of course, accounting for a big chunk currently of their $180 million suspected cap. The Steelers, even with this restructuring of Cam Hayward, by the way, are still well over the cap by about $19 million. There's only two teams, I think, 2 or 3 teams that are in worse shape cap-wise than the Steelers, the Saints and the Eagles. The Eagles already acknowledging they're going to pay $38.5 million in dead money to Carson Wentz, who's going to play for somebody else. So at least the Steelers' accounting department is more creative than the Eagles, who just said, we'll just pay it anyway. Just let him go. But the Ben Roethlisberger saga continues. It has to get solved in the next few weeks because I think it's March 17th is the roster bonus day. So right now, kind of at a stalemate. Roethlisberger holds all the cards, though. I mean, he's got the Steelers over the barrel. I mean, he has a contract. The Steelers either have to cut him or restructure his deal. He's the one that said he doesn't care about the money. I don't care about the money. I feel like that's not accurate. I feel like he would restructure. I feel like he would welcome that. But I don't think he's going to take the league minimum.
Why? If you're just gonna bail on your paycheck, why go through all the grief of work?
I agree.
I mean, that's just...
I agree. There's really no reason. I don't know why he even wants to come back. Your line stinks. Juju's not going to be there. You have no running game. Not that he cares about that. He didn't really want a running game. And it turns out that he does not really care for Matt Canada's system, and Matt Canada is the new offensive coordinator. Why would you come back? You have all the money you need. Why don't you move to Arizona and retire? Live the good life. Move to Florida.
You still have your brain.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, he's been injured quite a bit, and I mean, he's tough and resilient. I'm not taking anything away from what he did. But just say, thank you, we appreciate it, you're a Steeler for life. Everybody move on. Yeah, why would you risk it? He doesn't seem to have any huge issues that are going to, at least right now, at least on the surface, to damage the rest of his life. I don't even know why he wants to do this. I would be interested to know, and we'll never really know. Former players have spoke up about it, but nobody that's on the team currently I haven't seen has spoke up about it. I wonder what the players think. The guys that know they're going to be there next season. Obviously he and Cam Hayward have spent a lot of time together in the locker room. I understand that they're pretty tight. They're the offensive and defensive captains of the team. I wonder if you could get him in a room and just ask him, hey, off the record, what do you want to see happen here? I wonder what he really would say. He's got to be tired of this too. Anybody that's coming back to this team that knows they have a spot on this team has got to be tired of it. They've absolutely got to be just exhausted from hearing about it. I would imagine the younger guys, the Deontay Johnsons of the world, who will look like they have promising careers, would love to have him back just because he's throw happy. He'll throw 65 times a game. And if you're a receiver, you catching the ball is how you get paid.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that they would. But I would love to know. I would truly love to know how those guys feel about it. Steelers have to address a running game too, so they're going to have to not only get down $19 million more to be within the cap, they're going to have to find a way to get somebody who can run the football. Because James Conner's not going to be back. He did have a Pro Bowl, but man, he just never really got the chance to get started, and he gets hurt an awful lot. One more sports note, and we'll move on. Deion Sanders' personal items were stolen from his office during the Jackson State coaching debut, but have been recovered. That's right, Neon Deion is now a football coach at Jackson State. They played football this past Sunday, and all his stuff got stolen. He had a 53-0 win over NAIA program. Edward Waters. You'd think Deion Sanders would end up coaching defensive back somewhere other than Jackson State and not being a head coach. But who am I to judge? I'm not Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, by the way, was from Fort Myers, Florida, where I ended up living for a while. And he hated it. He wouldn't come back for a long, long time. So he is, he's highly regarded as a guy that knows what he's doing, but his stuff got stolen during his coaching debut, but he was able to recover it. He now changed his Twitter handle, by the way, if you're looking for him, Lola. He's now Coach Prime. Coach Prime, if you're going to look for Neon Deion. Yeah. That's a crappy way to start your coaching career.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here's some weird news. Did you see that authorities in Cincinnati found 44 pounds of cocaine-soaked cereal? How do you smuggle cocaine into America? You put it in cereal boxes. So basically, it was they were disguised as cornflakes. Who thinks of this stuff?
There was one story going around that they were smuggling it inside bananas.
You know what? I think I did see something about that.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. I mean, there's somebody right now, wherever drugs come from, and again, I'm not the person that really knows, but wherever they come from, they think about how can we get this into America? Well, this is how they did it. They shipped 44 pounds of cocaine-coated cornflakes, which have a street value of nearly $3 million.
I'd like to know how you get the coke off the...
Again, I couldn't... If you threw drug names at me, this is how naive I am, and I'm actually okay with this. I can be naive about it. If you threw drugs at me and asked me how you do them, I wouldn't know. Like, other than smoke pot, I don't know. I don't know. So how do you get the coke off of a cornflake? I don't know. But that's a pretty interesting way to get it here. I will say that.
Wash it off, and then you let the Coke dry out, and you got your Coke back.
Yeah, I no clue.
That's the only way I can think of.
That's how ridiculous, naive I am. Tim Matheson, he was, of course, in several series, but his biggest role, arguably, Animal House, if you remember him from Animal House. Did you see what he did? I mean, you talk about a way to get back into the news. I mean, he's a fine enough actor, but really you haven't heard from him in a long, long time. He decided to tweet, "It's so wonderful to have a first lady with class and heart," which, it's America, you can tweet that. That's not terribly offensive. Unfortunately, the second sentence is, "and can speak English," taking the shot at Melania Trump. So, of course, since social media is the end-all, be-all of everything, he's getting death threats and extorted online. He had to call the police. Someone has sent him a few messages, many messages, saying they're going to beat him up. And also, if you don't pay me big bucks, I will kill you. So he had to get the police involved. And here's the first time, I think, ever that Twitter emerged as a champion. He wrote, "Thank you for your work as First Lady. I apologize for the stupid, ignorant, and foul remark that I made last week on Twitter in reference to you. It was wrong, cruel, and intolerant of me. I have learned a big lesson from this experience. So sorry," and tweeted that at Flotus45. That's nice. When you screw up, you can apologize. Imagine that. He actually just publicly did it.
Oh, yeah, that was nice of him.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can say dumb things. Sometimes people get tuned up and they write dumb things and they tweet it and they can't take it back. Obviously, he paid a little bit of a price for it and was getting harassed online for a disparaging remark towards Melania Trump, who people seem to lie. I guess I was always indifferent on her. I was like, okay, I mean, she's not my wife. It doesn't do anything for me, but I didn't think she was a terrible human or anything. I don't know anybody that's passionate enough to tweet about it. Why tweet about it?
I know
it. I mean, if you didn't like her husband, tweet at him. Or if you thought Joe Biden was doing a great job, just tweet that. Why do you have to? Everybody's got to take that shot at the end. His tweet was fine until he took a shot at Melania Trump. But that's how you get yourself back in the news. And he did apologize for it, and I thought it should be noted that someone actually used Twitter to apologize for something. What a nice thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Floating around on the internet, I saw this, and I thought I would bring it up because I never really thought about it. It's been a long, long time since I bagged groceries. That was one of my very first jobs as a kid. And I saw this, and I thought it was worth bringing up. It said, never self-checkout. It's not convenient for me to help corporations fire workers so they raise their profits. I stand in line, and when the lines back up, the store calls more cashiers to the front. If we keep doing it, they'll need to hire more people. Never self-checkout. You are not a store employee. Stop being one for free. What do you think about that?
I use self-checkout.
Me too. I love it. I love it. It eliminates another person in life that I don't have to interact with. And then don't take that the wrong way. I love when you call the show. I love that you interact with the show. I love that you tweet and comment on the show. But in life, I would rather just bag my own stuff and get out. I know, like for me, I know where everything goes in my house. So if I have dry goods that go in my pantry, I'm going to put them in a bag or several bags. If I have meat, I'm going to put it in a bag. I like the control. To me, it's a control thing. And I agree. Look, sometimes you can go to a store and there's like one checkout open and the line gets real backed up, and I don't always see them call more cashiers, so that can be a problem because you can wait in line for a long time when you can just go. But I love it. I don't look at the checkout line of the self-checkout as a bad thing. I look at it as that's perfect. That's perfect. You control your own destiny.
There. They have somebody stationed there.
Yeah, I mean, there's one person for like 8 or 10 registers, and I get that. It's not 8 people working, and I can see that issue. I can see why people feel that way. But for me, I love the control of it. I love the control of it. If I could just, I wish I could go to the store when no one was there, not even a single employee. I would just get my stuff in the basket, honor system it, leave a pile of cash wherever it needed to be, and shop in peace. I just look at it as another way to get out faster. And that's how I will always see it. Did you see the ferret that got cloned?
No.
Did you see the little ferret? He's cute.
Ferrets are cute.
The black-footed ferret was believed extinct until 18 were discovered on a Wyoming ranch. Now scientists have cloned one using 33-year-old DNA. Her name is Elizabeth Ann.
Aww.
And they can clone animals that have gone extinct. This is a weird dilemma. It seems nice, and the thing is cute. I've never had a ferret.
My son did. They're very destructive.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hear they can tear the hell out of something, but should we be messing with science that way? Should we be messing with science that way? I don't know. I'm kind of uncomfortable with it. I'm not as uncomfortable with, I guess, cloning a ferret than I am with some of the AI things that I've seen. That I'm real uncomfortable with.
I'd rather have them clone a ferret than this printing of meat. I'm serious.
I know.
That is weird.
Yeah.
If you want to clone, especially something that is really on the endangered or the extinct list, because whose fault is it, probably, that they are on that list anyway? Humans.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised they named it Elizabeth Ann. They should have called it Betty White.
Yeah, that's true. I guess Elizabeth Ann was born using frozen cells of a black-footed ferret called Willa that died in 1988. She will be raised by the National Black-Footed Ferret Conservation Center in Colorado, and they thought it was extinct. I mean, that's look. It's a cool story, and it's cool for science. I mean, I'm pro science, even though I don't understand it most of the time. I'm pro science. I just think it's kind of weird that we're gonna go back and clone extinct animals. Like, we're not even doing enough to help the ones that are still alive, let alone going back to get old ones. I mean, if you're gonna start cloning bald eagles, I mean, that would be fine. But then again, how do you decide? I'm more worried about AI than I am cloning extinct animals. Again, still nice, but man, I don't know about that. I'm not comfortable with it. And this is the last thing for today. But boy, what our society is something. The Muppet Show. You can watch The Muppet Show. Have you seen this headline?
No.
The Muppet Show. The old versions of The Muppet Show, with the young Sylvester Stallone, Alice Cooper. I saw the Alice Cooper one the other day. Disney adds content warning over negative stereotypes. There is a warning at the front of The Muppet Show over negative stereotypes. Are pig actresses offended? Are the frog community out of whack? What is this about? I mean, it's the Muppets.
I know.
It's the Muppets.
I'm telling you, it is getting totally out of hand. It really is. We should just all bubble ourselves.
Disney says the stereotypes were wrong then and they're wrong now. Come on, Disney. Not everything from the past is bad.
We gotta go.
We're going. See you tomorrow, 2:00.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
$300 million in the expected cracker plant.
Yeah,